A couple of my friends requested me to record a message for New Year. So that's what I'm trying to do on the 31st December of 2011, last day of this calendar year, in the morning at 7:40 a.m. Well, if you ask me, I'm not prepared as to what message I would like to put across to people in general. But what comes to me very naturally, the first message is, I love you all. I love each and every one of you, because that's how love is. I have experienced over the years its true nature of being all-pervasive, all-embracing, of not making any distinction, of dissolving all boundaries, of bringing everything, every sentient being, every living being together into a state of oneness, a state where I become you and you become me, a state where neither there is a I or a you, a very, very blissful state. And the more I speak of it, I know I'll be going away from it. I think it's a state which perhaps those who have attained godliness would know, very similar to that. Yeah, so my essential message to all of you is I love you all. Now, let me try and figure out what is it that you expect of a person who is sending a message across to the world. What do you expect him to share? Let me try and assume. Well, as this year closes and another year gets ready to come into our lives, it's very natural for many of us to figure out, to try and know what does this new year hold for me. I also know that there are many of us who would be actually going through the year which is going by and looking at what happened, what was done, what was not done, what could have been done, what should be done, so on and so forth. Now this is interesting. If you notice, most of us are either looking for ways and means to know what is there in future for us, or are looking for ways and means to figure out more about our past. No wonder you have astrologers, you have tarot readers, you have all those professional predictors making a lot of money. And then you have those who help you to go back to your past and maybe reinforce your living in the past by telling you good and bad things about what your past life was and what you were and what you were doing and what you brought in and what you could have brought in, and so on and so forth. A whole lot of post-mortem. But wait, have you realized something? What have you done to the now? What have you done to the present? Even if you're not going to an astrologer or a psychic who tells you about your past, you have used the present as a passage from the past which is absolutely dead and holds no meaning for the present. And from this past, you have tried to project a future which is nothing but an extrapolation of the past, which is yet to be born. So most of the present you have used as a waiting room, as a railway platform, or as an airport where you arrive in from the past and take flight into the future. Now, you may ask, so what's wrong about it? There's nothing wrong about it. In fact, you can continue doing this, and let me assure you, nothing will go wrong anywhere. The cosmic design is so awesome that it can unfold, and it will unfold, and it is unfolding without your participation. If you believe that by attaining wisdom, by attaining spiritual knowledge or power, you are going to impact the way things are and the way things should be, well, give it a shot. It can't be any other way, whether you are choosing to be in the present, to live in the present, to grow in the present, or choosing to stay asleep in the past and take flight into the future. So my first message to you, my friends, is there is nothing that you can do differently to impact the cosmic design which is unfolding just the way it is meant to be. There is nothing that you can do to change it, because its very nature is change, and change which is total. Change which is not directed towards a thing or a life or a being, but change that is transformational in nature. And, like it or not, even without actively participating in it, you are in it. In fact, if you look at it a little deeply, you may not be aware of it, but you are it. You are the change. So what could be my message for this year? Well, if you ask me, one of the things that I wish my loved ones, that is each one of you, could get in touch with is who you really are, who you truly are. And trust me, I have done this exercise many times. When I ask 10 people to make themselves known to each other, not more than 1 and 2 could do that to an extent of 60 to 70%. So I think it's high time that you stop becoming, you stop looking for approval, stop looking for acceptance outside, believing that it is only because of their approval and their acceptance that you can exist. And for once, Be. And the big question is, how can I be? I'll give you a very small tip to be. I've already shared that you can't be in the past or the future, which means that being exists only in the moment, only in the present. The question is, how can I be in the moment? Let me ask you, and I assume most of the people who would be hearing this message consider themselves to be wise, knowledgeable, learned. Do you know your breath? Do you know how it feels? Do you have any idea of what is its nature? Can you describe it? If you're honest to yourself, you would be shaking your head. No, I don't. So you see, something which I consider to be closest to our existence. A friend to whom we haven't paid much of an attention, but has been with us right from the time we were born and will continue to be with us till we die. We hardly know this friend, our breath. So in this year 2012, would you care to get to know your breath? And it's simple. No matter what you're doing, every 1 hour, take a pause and for 5 minutes, just watch your breath. Experience it completely as you inhale, as it goes in, as it turns around, as it comes out. And experience the pause, the small little pause in the cycle of your in-breath and out-breath. And watch the magic. Watch the magic of how you uncover that part of you which was always there, alive deep inside you. How you suddenly get this awesome feeling of blissfulness. How you suddenly find yourself more rooted, more centered, and how suddenly it seems that you're complete, you're fulfilled, you're abundant. Just try this out. There's a lot of literature out there, and there's more literature coming in. As each day, there is a God man who comes to earn at your expense. As each day, there's a self-help book that hits the shelf. There's a lot of literature. And all these literatures are nothing but meant to keep your breath away from you, are meant to keep you engaged in knowing and experiencing your breath. So the next thing that I come to, if you can, dump all this intellectual pastime in year 2012. Dump it, they're of no use. Yeah, even I don't I don't spend time in trying to reach out to what some wise men have to say, what they have written, what they are saying. Unless, of course, I am led to seek a message in one of those messages. And that is a very different thing. So with that, I come to the next recommendation. As you're moving around with your watchfulness, which is now much more enhanced because you have befriended, you have known your breath, you will suddenly come across messages. Messages on the television, messages in the book which is lying next to you. It could be your son or daughter's textbook of the school. Messages in the hoardings that you pass by. And you don't have to look for these messages. These messages will find you. Pay heed to these messages. It's a part of the cosmic design unfolding itself. And trust me, there is no accident, there is no coincidence. When you come to that state where time and space becomes meaningless, you will realize that these messages were already known to you. In encountering them through mediums outside you, you are remembering these messages. So please pay heed to these messages and allow them to make you respond to them in a certain way. So that brings me to the third recommendation is responding. Can you respond and not react? Ordinarily, all the actions that you undertake are not original. None of them originated from you and your being. They were reactions. They were things done by you as dictated by memories of the past, which tells you how to do certain things in certain situations. It stores some kind of pattern and it invokes that pattern in certain situations, making you do certain things in certain ways. So that is not original action, that is not a response. Response happens only in the present. Response happens only when you're not doing. Response happens only when you're in complete harmony with the environment around you. And it may not be a visible and earth-shattering response, but this is what the cosmic design expects for it to unfold with all its glory. You to respond in your entirety with an original action in the moment with all your being, not your becoming. Coming to the being and becoming, I think this is something which increasingly people are getting to become aware of. I think this year, with all the events that it has in store, is going to somewhere enable, catalyze our movement from the obsession to become, our movement from shedding off the husk of the seed to allowing our own enormous being to sprout and blossom. But here is something that I would like to leave you with. If you truly are looking at unlocking and setting your being free, you have been, over the years, a captive of your own story of who you are. And the story also includes your own assumptions of how the world is. You have believed that you are responsible for this and that. You believed that there are certain duties that you are required to carry out. And in the process, you have also believed quietly and secretly that some of your desires, some of your dreams, some of those things which you passionately wanted to pursue are not so important. Now try this out. The set of responsibilities, which you call them responsibilities, but carry out as mere drudgery or duty, make a list of them and go to the stakeholders towards which or whom you feel responsible and ask them, what if from tomorrow onwards I cease to be responsible the way I have been? Just try and do this. List the responsibilities, list the stakeholders, and go and check with them. What if you cease to be responsible from tomorrow onwards? Do you know something? And you will hate me for saying this. You go to work and come back home. You get your paycheck. You buy assets by taking loan and paying EMIs. You feel great, if not awesome, about the fact that you are doing extremely well for yourself. And then you go back and crib that you're not being paid enough, right? Now trust me, you are actually being paid disproportionately high. What the business is getting at the most is not more than 10% of what you can deliver. And all businesses have, for some foolish reason, made certain benchmarks which by themselves are very, very low. So you are in this game trying to beat an abysmally low benchmark and moving from 5% to 6% and believing that you should be paid more for that. No, you're actually being paid 100% for at the most bringing in 10% of yourself. So how would you be able to bring in your 100%? Very simple. I invite you, I provoke you, I challenge you to reclaim just one of your dreams that you had passionately nurtured in your heart, and reclaim that dream to the fullest, resolving that you are going to fulfill that dream by intent. Create an intent, write it down, put it in places that you happen to pass by on your day-to-day life, and let that dream drive you. For once you will realize the futility of planning. You've planned so many times, and yet, very honestly, if you look back on how many occasions have you moved by the plan and arrived at the planned outcome, you would be disappointed. But this time, you would not require a plan to realize your dream and maybe uncover your destiny. All you would be required to do is stay religiously connected to your intent, and come what may, allow it to guide you every moment of your existence. I'm not going to tell you all the magic that will happen. You will see it for yourself. However, what I'm going to tell you is because of the conditioned smallness, powerlessness and worthlessness, you will doubt your awesomeness many a times. You would feel like dropping your dream. You will call upon misfortunes which will not allow you to pursue the dream. And you will allow yourself to be distracted by your greed, by your fear, by your need to be one up. Allow all that to happen, but just watch yourself. Just keep watching yourself when you are moving away from your intent. Just keep watching yourself, doubting your enormous power within. Just keep watching yourself, setting yourself up to confront self-fulfilling prophecies of misfortune. And keep your dream, your intent, always in your focus. And if you need any help to stay on track, you have a friend in me, just a call away. Wish you all a very, very happy New Year. And once again, I love you all.